We're going to be talking a little bit about that later in the broadcast. But for a moment, I think actually I'm going to restart us because I realized it didn't go all the way through. So now we're actually live. And that's okay because that's what's great about live and editing is you can sort of pull that out again.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're going to start again. So welcome to Raregivers 2023, benefiting Angel Aid. My name's Crystal Barrett O'Loughlin, and I am the founder and CEO of Angel Aid. And I am joined today by my dear friend, Jonathan Dix. Hello, Jonathan.
And Crystal, how are you?
I'm
So good to
doing,
see you.
it's so good to see you. And where are you joining us from today?
Yeah, so we're actually coming from Cincinnati, Ohio, where I reside. We're actually in the in my actual wellness center, so that I own. So it's kind of apropos for the conversation today. So this is Revive Strength and Wellness. This is a close and personal journey to my heart, and just doing a job that I never thought I'd get to do, but I love it every day. So.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I love it that you did it straight from the studio so that we can see it behind you and everything.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Well, so this is a fireside chat, although we're not fireside. So everybody is sort of, let's call it a coffee talk. So this is a coffee talk. We're going to have a conversation here in a minute. What I'd like to do is just take a couple of minutes, share with our viewers who Angel Aid is and what we're doing these wellness experiences for, because this is our global festival of wellness. We're doing wellness experiences all month long, and we want our supporters to have the opportunity to hear directly from those that are receiving the benefit of our services, and then also experience some of those services. So we've been doing meditations, we've been doing author talks, fitness experiences, and the like. So in just a couple of minutes, Jonathan, I'm going to bring you back up and we're going to go deeper into the conversation. But for this moment, I'm going to pull up my slide deck and share really what Rare Givers is all about and what we're inviting you as our supporters and our listeners today to do. So Rare Givers is a global nonprofit network. We are a network of networks, and we're here to provide personal connection and emotional support to patients, their parents and caregivers, and the professionals in the rare, chronic, and complex disease community. Okay. These are individuals who feel often isolated and always overwhelmed by their medical experience. And so, what we do at Angel Aid is we bring relief through daily doses of encouragement and support. We have weekly and monthly support groups, and then we host these amazing Rare Givers respite retreats where we actually fly in individuals to Barrett Family Ranch here in Orange County. Our goal is to support 3.5 million Rare Givers by 2026. And that is a very achievable goal, especially given what we have with mobile devices and through the various generous donations that we receive each year during our October Give campaign. And so here's how you can give. Hopefully, we're going to inspire your heart today to give deeply and generously. If you are a Microsoft employee, we've provided a QR code for Microsoft employees. You can also go to aka.ms/angel aid, and your donations will be matched through the Benevity portal. If you're outside the Microsoft community, then we invite you to donate on the Angel Aid website, angelaidcares.org/give. And we have our donation guides, and it gives you a sense of all the different levels of giving and specifically what part of our programs that you would be funding with that generous donation. Any amount matters, so please know that we support any donation you make. These are just opportunities for you to see the different funding levels. And I wanted to share for a few moments our personal family story. So, my parents, Richard and Phyllis, are honestly the strongest people I know. And Jonathan's had the great pleasure of meeting my dad, Richard Barrett. So, he's going to be able to talk a little bit about that in the broadcast later. But Richard and Phyllis met in high school. They fell in love. He was captain of the football team. She was head drill team leader, and they wanted to get married, and they wanted a big family. So they married in 1963 at 19, and they had in 8 years they had 5 children. So every, about year and a half, they had a new baby. My oldest brother, Richard Barrett, is also a Richard Barrett. Richard Adam is there on the left, and then David, Jared, and Randy, my 3 middle brothers, and then there I am, the youngest. What my parents didn't know is that my mother carried a recessive gene called mucopolysaccharidosis, and it caused a disease in 3 of my 4 older brothers called Hunter syndrome. Unfortunately, there were no treatments and cures at that time, and my brothers did pass away at 12, 18, and 19 years old in the 1980s. And I can tell you that our whole family was wrapped up in the caregiving for my brothers. Their needs were very, very great. And there was a lot of stress. I'll be honest. It was really a difficult time for our family because of that stress. My parents divorced, and as my brothers passed away, I can tell you that we always stayed very bonded and close as a family, but the impact was pretty profound on all of us for many decades to come. If you stick with us to the end of this broadcast, I'm going to give you a love story like you will never believe. But in the meantime, just know that the Barrett family has been through quite an experience, and really haven't so many of us. We know from the pandemic, and we know just from life, that really terrible things happen, and there's not always an easy answer for why. I've spent a lifetime studying the impact of suffering, and I've spent a lifetime thinking about what the purpose is of the suffering and the pain that we go through. And the best I can offer you is that in suffering is an opportunity to connect with others. It sows the seeds of empathy. It marinates your heart in a way that no other experience can. And always there's other suffering hearts out there. And so if that can bring us together in this common experience, then there's relief to be found in that way. So this is not unique. I wish I could say that the Barrett family experience was unique, but it's not. This is a global community that is suffering through these experiences. Rare diseases actually impact more people than AIDS and cancer combined. There's over 10,000 diseases that are categorized as rare, meaning less than 50,000 patients worldwide. And that means you've got 350 million families all around the world that are contending with the reality of 0 cures. And it's that number that hit my heart many years ago. The 0 cures. How is it possible that I've been on the planet for 50 years, and for all of our work in research and science, we're still living with this same reality, 0 cures? So here's what I believe. I actually believe in our lifetime that we are going to see more treatments and many, many cures for rare diseases. But until that happens, until science and researchers make their breakthroughs, we can provide deep relief today. So I call this empathy math. This isn't, don't run for the hills. This isn't a hard equation. 350 million patients and caregivers times 0 cures. We're dealing with a global mental health crisis, and we just really actually need to recognize it. That's the most empowering thing we can do, is recognize that families are emotionally impacted by this experience, even as they're going through all of the research, all of the treatments and the clinical trials and the other medical experiences. And we know how important this is. It's so important. The United Nations named it as the number 3 sustainable development goal. It's a fundamental human right to have good health and well-being. Now, good health tends to lend itself towards kind of the medical way of thinking of physical health, but well-being is a statement to the emotional well-being. So this is a statement about a holistic view of the patient, and we would offer a holistic view of the family. So Raregivers by Angel Aid is that answer. How do we support these families while research and science is doing their good work? And we call it well-being delivered. And in fact, we're delivering so much, we're bursting at the seams. That's why we're having this gift campaign. We really need your support. We have grown in the last 18 months. We had 500 families at the beginning of 2022. Last year, we grew to 5,000 families. And right now, we have almost 16,000 families, over 15,000 families that we're providing daily support, weekly support groups, and quarterly wellness retreats for. We've added 22 psychologists and health and wellness practitioners to our network, and we've got over 21,000 hours of wellness training logged over the last 7 years. So we are in this for the long haul. We are building a movement together, and it's happening actually family by family. So every time a family goes through our training, we are able to see the sort of reverb effect into the disease community that they're a part of. I just want to do a huge shout out to our sponsors and supporters, all of the pharmaceutical companies that have been supporting our work, thank you, and all of the patient organizations that have been entrusting us with mental health services, also thank you. And a big thank you to the many, many volunteers, particularly Microsoft employee volunteers that built our website, built our app, have translated our methodologies into 8 different languages. And thank you so much to the donor community that continues to entrust their good dollars with our services. So thank you. Your dollars are what allowed us last year, not even this year, to host our very first Mexico City Spanish retreat, our Australia retreat for epilepsy caregivers, and our men's retreat in June of 2023. So when we bring people together, we have these tools. Raregivers Emotional Journey Map is a construct. It's a witnessing tool. It allows all of these different caregivers from different disease communities to come together and share a common experience, to orient where they are in this experience and how they are feeling emotionally about it. So without further ado, I'd like to pause and just introduce my special guest today, Jonathan Dix. Jonathan is going to talk about his role because he has many roles. So his role is father, his role is president and VP of development at Cystinosis Research Network. And so I'm going to come off screen here and just say, hello, Jonathan. Thank you.
No, absolutely. It's so wonderful to be here. I knew, very early just how incredible you guys were and the work that you were doing, and to experience it firsthand with the men's retreat. But then to see it in the 50,000 foot view here in the presentation is just incredible. Exponential growth, by a factor of 10, right? I mean, that's incredible to get to 5,000 families and now to be, on the cusp of 20,000. It's incredible. My journey into the rare world, like many that you'll hear after me, was not by choice. So my daughter Eleanor was born in 2015, and she was born with a very rare lysosomal transport storage disorder, so much in the same family as MPS as well. She just kind of started off not growing, and it baffled doctors. And, we were dealing with a diagnosis of anxiety and failure to thrive. And, the fact that she wasn't growing in height, weight, or head circumference was kind of thrown back on us as parents. And what are we doing wrong? And as a very, it's a lonely time in that journey before diagnosis. And we call it the diagnostic odyssey for a reason. And for Eleanor, unfortunately, it took, it was almost a 3-year odyssey to get the correct diagnosis. And, I always say that with the correct diagnosis just came, a bit of navigation. You feel like you're on this ocean, and you're on this ship that has no electricity. And, and all of a sudden, once that diagnosis happens, that light switch gets flicked on, and and you realize that you have a navigation system there, and you look out on the horizon there and you see that pinprick of light, and you know that that's kind of your wayfare. And but there's got to be something more to that. And so the Cystinosis Research Network, we found them pretty quickly after the diagnosis. I realized that I needed to jump into this feet first, and just really understand everything I could. And we found the CRN, and what that really did is it just kind of we realized that there was like another light switch on the ship, and you flick that on, and then all of a sudden you realize that you've got a first mate there, you've got your captain there, you've got somebody in the engine room. You need to figure out how to do it in the right fashion, in the right order. And a lot of that comes with trial and error, and just learning and being open to growth. For me, I had a medical background, and so I was at an emergency department critical care nurse at a level 1 trauma center here in Cincinnati. And so, a lot of these families that we see, in my role as president now, don't really have that backing, that scientific and that medical backing, and that understanding how to get what you need, from your doctors, from your care team. And even then, it was a 3.5-year, 3-year diagnosis. And, I had a lot of dad guilt that sat there, that I missed it for so long. But, we get into this and we want to believe that the people that are supposed to take care of, our loved ones, our most special gifts, know what they're doing. And, no shade on them, right? It's rare for a reason. And, that's one of the reasons why I advocate so much is that, we've got to find a way to get these rare diseases on the map, so that that diagnostic odyssey can be something as quick as a blood test, and therapy can be started right away. As a result of the misdiagnosis, Eleanor is now needing a kidney transplant. So when I met Crystal, we were kind of getting close to it, but over the summer, her kidney function really fell off, and it's actually a feather in our cap, because we did such a good job with helping her grow and get bigger. Her body mass doubled, but the kidneys were never going to get any better, and so they had to work doubly as hard. So we're faced with the transplant odyssey now. My wife Shirley is 35 weeks yesterday, pregnant. And we have to contend with the fact that cystinosis is autosomal recessive disorder. It's a genetic thing, and so there's a 25% chance that baby number 3 is going to be born with cystinosis. Does that change anything? Absolutely not. What it really does is it just, again, makes me look at Eleanor with the kind of awe that I always do, of the way in which she pays it forward in ways that I don't think she really even understands now. But she had to go through that trial, and is going through these trials right now, for us to know what's going on in our genetic history in our family, so that we can do the right things at the right time. It's been my highest honor to operate as president and VP of development, 2 roles that I can currently have, and I've been in those roles for about 3.5 years now. And it's such a life's passion. It's when you're stricken with this kind of a diagnosis, and really what it is, it's like life after the diagnosis, because you can't really remember a whole lot before what it was like, because life now is kind of all consuming. And I think that there's this ability and this uncommon strength that we have to really rise up and do incredible things. I always thought that it was kind of a stoic thing and I could do it all myself. But, what I've really understood is that it takes a community. And I know it's said a lot, but the community is what lifts us up. The community is, who's going to provide, a kidney for us, God willing, for Eleanor. And, it's something that I take with such high respect and responsibility. And, the CRN has been around since 1996. It started as, moms and dads at the kitchen table, you just not okay with hearing, I don't know what to do with your child, so you can go ahead and take them home, and, from that groundswelling, we've developed into, just a lovely nonprofit that does so many incredible things. We we're focused, obviously, we're focused on a cure. That's obviously something everybody wants. But, the thing that I preach to the congregation is that we have to do the small things exquisitely well all the time, which is we just follow the regimen. It's, cystinosis takes no days off. And so the medication administration is around the clock. Eleanor takes the equivalent of about 14 pills every single day to reduce the cysteine buildup in her body. She's on growth hormone. She's on an eye drop that she has to take every hour in the hour while she's awake. A cocktail of enzyme replacement therapy, as well as electrolyte replacement therapy. It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's it's events like this. It's incredible things like this that Angel Aid Cares does, that allows you to step away from that Groundhog Day effect, where you're just doing the same thing over and over. It's not insanity, because it's not like we're expecting a different outcome. It's just you kind of fall into the minutia of what dealing with rare disease is, and there's no days off for it. And so being able to to see the Santa Ana Mountains in the morning, and be around other rare dads and other rare patients themselves, with this male perspective, was so eye-opening and so enlightening for me. I didn't know how much I needed it, but what it really was it kind of primed me to deal with these really, really difficult times that were really just around the corner, that I had no idea.
Oh my gosh, Jonathan, so first of all, you are so eloquent about the feelings, the emotions, the realities, the communities that you're representing, both your community of your own personal family, and then this broader community, and then now this even more broader community of the Angel Aid Rare Fathers. So thank you for taking the time to explain all of those things. And I'm going to play a video very quickly so that our audience can see what the effect was for bringing together these men. We actually flew in Rare Fathers from around the world. But could you introduce for a moment what it was like for you to leave your home for 4 days and just step into this experience at Barrett Family Ranch?
Yeah, it was exactly what I needed. Something that I didn't know I needed at that time, and really, and you'll endorse this, it was a last minute thing for me that I found this, and just really understood that this was something that I absolutely had to do. It was scary as well. It was very scary to walk away, from the normalcy, as abnormal as that is, right? But the normalcy of the minute to minute, kind of life that we live. And it was kind of a shock to the system to realize that, I could, I was on the plane and I was turning off all the alarms that I had on my phone, because I know I wouldn't have to get up for those alarms. And it was this idea that, life really is hours and days and we and what it really did for me is it helped really hit a reset button that I needed. It's the lifeguard mentality. It's that idea that you have to protect yourself if you're that lifesaver, and so you have to put yourself in situations where you can thrive and you can survive. So what does the lifeguard do when someone's in distress? They put the person between themselves and the wave, right, knowing they're going to get a little water in their face, but they got to get them back to shore. And, I didn't know how much I was drowning at that time, but the minute I got there and got off that plane, and, I got to talk to you and see you, and, just feel your passion and understanding for what we were going through. And then I got to meet the guys, and it was such an incredible event where it was okay just to kind of let down all the exterior, all that stuff, all the armor, all the things that we do to, as protectors, as providers, as all those things that are innately, just kind of come naturally to us. It was very unnatural to be cared for, and it was something that I just had to really fall into, and you just have the understanding, the transparency that like somebody was going to be there to catch me. I'm always the one catching everybody else, and so for that first time to be able to be caught
Yeah.
Just wrapped up in love and in all of these different modalities that got us there. And the congregation will see exactly what I mean with all the different stuff. But it was life changing for me. It was life changing. These are connections that I made with other men that I still to this day we still link up. We still meet up every single month. We have a day that's picked out and a time that works for us. And while we all can't make it, we all want to be there. And when we do all get there together, it's such a lovely time and something that I really look forward to.
I'm so glad. Okay, thank you for that introduction, and we'll just take a look here, and then we will wrap up on our discussion in a moment.
What surprised me throughout this entire process is how vulnerable men can be when given the opportunity to do so. I feel once in a lifetime opportunity to be put in this environment. It's amazing to hear the conversations and just the truth that just comes out. This is an experience that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
What surprised me the most about being here is how almost familiar everybody feels almost immediately. If you are a father, a husband, or somebody who is caregiving for somebody with a rare disease, and you don't have this, you need to find your way here. This Raregivers retreat is like a breath of life. This is a place where you can be seen, where you can be heard.
For us to get together like this is really special. My wife had attended a similar event like this, but for females, and she had raved about it. It's because you're a man doesn't mean you don't have emotions.
It's been a crazy few days here, actually being around other men who are just as vulnerable as you. I mean, those sessions, they go so deep, I'm emotionally exhausted. You're watching something that you can't fix, and men are fixers, right? So there's a lot of anger that goes along with that. There was a lot of empathy in that room when they were listening to me.
I'm just in a funk these days, and I was hoping that coping mechanisms they use and how they have addressed the problems that they face, and see if I could gather any wisdom from them, something to take home with me. It's good to know that you're not that different from somebody else. There have been some emotional moments, and that's good because that means that people are actually present and, talking about the real stuff. I was hesitant about coming here, but, I think it's been a good experience.
We share more than what we realise by being impacted by rare conditions. It feels a bond for me with the guys in the retreats. I think this has been a great opportunity for men to be taken care of, to pause, to connect with other men going through similar experiences.
I was just so blown away by the vulnerability, the candor, the very different stories, but all leading to the same through line of rare dads. It can be a very lonely task when you're supposed to be the stoic one and you don't understand whether or not, this is something that can be transformative. And, I'm here to tell you that it is. You're worthwhile, and we want to hear you.
Okay, well, that gave us an opportunity to experience firsthand some of the conversations, and I could see Jonathan's big smile lighting up, seeing the guys, So I'm just going to skip ahead and let you know that our family that hosts these retreats, Richard and Phyllis, they were apart for 35 years because of this rare disease experience, and in the last 15 years, they've found themselves back to each other, and we were able to marry them again at Barrett Family Ranch in April of this year. So 60 years after the first time they remarried. And we just hope that you know that this is a special place where healing and bonding and hopefully deeply impacting experiences happen. So we invite you to make your donations. Please do support the work that we do. And if you'd like to continue engaging or learning or sharing what Angel Aid's all about, just go to angelaidcares.org and raregivers.global, and we can continue the conversation. So, Jonathan, thank you. Any parting thoughts for our audience here?
Well, you're most welcome, and it was my highest honor and privilege to be able, to be here today, and take out a little slice of my time to be able to talk. And I think that what I really want to leave people with is to understand just how multifaceted, this event and this group really is. We need more groups like Angel Aid Cares, who operate in the entire rare space. And Crystal did such a lovely job of speaking to what we really need to see, and when you really look at rare disease in the entire breadth of what it is on a U.S. and international perspective, it's actually not very rare at all. Not very rare at all. And I think the other thing that's not very, very rare is the common good and the giving nature and spirit of people. So if you can, please give. I am someone who speaks that right now, waiting for a kidney for our daughter, that it is the kindness and love and graciousness of others that makes incredible events like this, this nonprofit, the CRN, and all the other wonderful nonprofits that are too great to even name. This is what makes us tick. And so whatever you can give, whether big or small, that's just perspective, right? So anything given is absolutely wonderful. So it was my highest honor to be able to come and talk to you, Crystal. You look great. I hope everything's working wonderful out there. We're getting some nice weather here in Cincinnati finally. So
Great.
just send
I'm sending you hugs, and I can't wait to see you again at some point. And just a final note, thank you so much to the Horizon team for supporting the work that we do. They were the very first nonprofit to support our work at Angel Aid, and since the beginning, they've invested in these very different kinds of programs, but also deeply heart-led programs. So thank you, Jonathan. Everybody have a
absolutely.
wonderful day.